Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. It means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up, you're here with us. Hopefully that work week is in the rearview mirror. If it is not, we'll get you to the finish line here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Luke Johnson coming up in 30 minutes, bottom of the hour, talking Saints OTAs. Luke was there yesterday. He'll give us a full report on what he saw. Usually he's with us on Thursdays, but they were practicing yesterday, so we'll chat with Luke at the bottom of this hour. Preston Guy usually at 1:15. He's going to join us at straight up 2 o'clock. We'll talk a big weekend, last weekend and this coming weekend for LSU football recruiting. Of course, LSU and West Virginia tomorrow in Super Regional play. There are also 4 games today. I want to talk about all of that. And we will do so over the course of the next 2 hours. Let's do things the way we always do. We'll crank it up with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
All right, let's talk some baseball. LSU and West Virginia tomorrow. I've got a couple of pieces up on Louisiana Sports.net right now that are previewing this series. And the one today, I think, kind of goes into a little bit of LSU and West Virginia. Yesterday's series snapshot really talked more about West Virginia. And this first part of the weekend is about West Virginia, but there's a little bit of give and take here. I studied West Virginia's regional output pretty closely. And keep in mind, that's 3 baseball games. They've played 60. So you're talking about 3 games. I'm aware that that's not representative of them entirely, but I do think that a lot of the trends that they showed in the regional are borne out in their season-long statistics, especially offensively. Let me get to kind of what stood out to me. West Virginia, in 3 games, created 5 multi-run innings, more than 1 run. And you've heard me say they don't hit for a lot of power. They don't hit a lot of doubles. They were 11th in both of those. 11th in slugging and 11th in home runs in Big 12 play. But they do score a lot. Well, how do they create offense if you're not slugging, which they don't really do? Well, let's look at what they did in regional play. In the first game, the only crooked number they had was a 2-run 5th inning. And in that inning, Kentucky made 2 errors and hit a Mountaineer batter. That's how you create a 2-run inning. You make 2 errors and hit a guy. Don't do that. Okay, on Saturday, West Virginia had 2 big innings. They scored 3 in the first inning and 4 in the 9th inning against Clemson. In the first inning of that game, when they scored 3 runs, I think they did a really good job offensively. They had a leadoff hit by pitch on an 0-2 count. You can't do that if you're Clemson. But then West Virginia moved the ball, had some hits. They strung some hits together, no doubt about it. They got 3 runs. In the 9th, they scored 4 runs to put the game away. Well, how'd they do that? A walk and 2 hit batters. Both hit batters came with the bases loaded to force in runs. That's a lot of help from Clemson. You can't do it. Then in the regional final, West Virginia scored a lot of runs in that game. They scored 13. So I'm thinking, well, they had to have created some crooked numbers there. Well, they did only twice, but they were 2 6-run innings. 6 runs in the 4th and 6 runs in the 8th in the regional final. And Kentucky gave them all the charity you could possibly give. In that 4th inning, the Wildcats walked 2, hit 2, and made an error. 2 walks, 2 hit by pitches, and an error. And then in the 8th, they walked 3 guys in the 8th inning of a tight baseball game with the season on the line. You cannot do that if you're LSU. And you look at those 5 innings that West Virginia created a crooked number. 3 errors, 5 hit batters, and 6 walks. That is 14 free bases. in those 5 innings. Those 5 innings only had 3 extra base hits from West Virginia, and they were all doubles. No triples, no homers. It is really hard to create big innings if you can't slug, and West Virginia will struggle to do that unless you do that, unless you give them 14 free bases. Now, LSU defensively has been excellent from start to finish. All year, LSU's defense has been phenomenal. 1 error in the regional. It came at a terrible time last week with the flip at second base in the second inning on Monday. But great on defense. Now, walks have been an issue. And we know LSU largely, not totally, largely lost the game on Sunday of last week because they walked 11 guys. So that is a snapshot of what West Virginia is trying to accomplish here. And LSU cannot help them. Now, there's a prevailing thought that LSU needs to finish this series in 2 games. And so I wanted to go back and go, okay, Ianson and Anderson are the advantage for LSU, no question about it. Yeah, the boxing advantage. Yeah, I think LSU's more talented. There are other things, but Ianson and Anderson they're the main 2. And so I wanted to look back at what LSU has done with those 2 guys on the mound season long. And so if you look, Anderson and Ianson have made an individual start in 15 of the 16 weekends LSU has played, the exception obviously being the SEC tournament. Ianson came in relief. So 15 times those 2 guys have started on a weekend. LSU has won both of those starts in 10 of 15 weekends. They have split them 4 times. They lost them both once. They lost them both at Auburn when LSU was swept. I wanted to look more closely. LSU actually lost the Anthony Ianson start against Omaha. Now, Ianson struck out 15 that day and was awesome. LSU didn't score until the 9th inning of that game. So that really wasn't his fault. But if you look at just SEC play, 10 times they started on a weekend, and LSU won both starts 6 out of 10 times. And then you go further and you look at Alex Box Stadium. At home, when those 2 guys started in SEC play 5 times, LSU won both of those starts 4 of 5 weekends. The lone time LSU lost one of those starts was to Tennessee in the second game when Ianson pitched. Phillips was really good, and the Vols won that game. So statistically, that's pretty good. Those guys have pitched 15 times. 2/3 of the time, LSU's won both starts. You look at home and SEC play, 80% of the time, LSU won both starts. And I would suggest that playing against Arkansas is tougher than playing against West Virginia. Just my 2 cents of it. So that's one thing that I wanted to go back and look at as well. And the last thing was LSU at the box offensively. Home runs are just such a big deal. And I realize that's the most obvious take that I can give you. Hitting a home run, really good. You get some points. I get it. But home runs are a big deal. They fire up the crowd. They're easy, crooked numbers a lot of the times. They're demoralizing to the opposition. Home runs are a big deal. And LSU has not been a prolific home run hitting team for the season. They have 97 homers on the year. 77 of them have come at home. 77 of 97. It is a staggering number. Now, West Virginia does not hit for much power. You know that. We've gone through that. How about their pitchers in terms of allowing home runs? Well, they don't do that a lot either. Griffin Kern has only allowed 5 home runs since March 16th, and the West Virginia staff as a whole has only given up 55. So I'm not telling LSU to dig in and try to launch the ball. That's not what I'm suggesting. But I feel like LSU's bats are more equipped to hit mistakes and get the ball out of the yard at home than West Virginia is. And I feel like West Virginia staff is more prone to mistakes. The home runs can be fluky at times. I sat in the box in, what year was that? 2016. And Coastal Carolina hit Alex Lang for 4 home runs. Alex Lang did not give up 4 home runs in a start in the rest of his career, and Coastal did it. And West Virginia's got some guys that can run it out of the yard. Certainly do. West can definitely do it. But LSU's got more. Jones, Fry, Dickinson hit 2 last week. Hernandez hit 2 in a game last week. They've got some guys that can run it out of the yard. Jake Brown, Josh Pearson on a given day. So that's just, I feel like, going to be a big statistic. if West Virginia's offense does what it normally does, which is probably hit 1 or 2 home runs in a 3-game series, probably hit 1 in 2 games. They hit 1 in a 3-game set in a regional last week. And LSU does something close to what they did last week, does something close to what they did when they hit, I think that was 7 home runs. They hit against Arkansas here. Is that right? Can't swear, but they hit 7 one of the weekends in Baton Rouge. If you can hit the big fly, it just puts a lot of pressure. And then 2 years ago in the Super, LSU just started bashing home runs against Kentucky. Trey Morgan hit 1 in the first. White hit 1. Dugas hit 1. Beloso hit 1. And it gets the crowd going, and that place can swallow teams up. And it takes more than just the pitching, striking guys out to keep the box alive. You need to swing and I feel like while LSU's not a prolific power hitting team, LSU should outslug West Virginia, and that could be a big key to this game, especially if you get into some close games. I think it's going to be tough for West Virginia to string a bunch of hits together in the first 7 innings tomorrow and in the first 7 innings on Sunday. It's not impossible, but it just feels unlikely based on how Anderson and Ianson are throwing it. And those 2 West Virginia starters are good as well. But, man, just get into a couple. Hit a couple out of the yard. I think you can separate. And I feel good about LSU today, as I said here. We're going to talk about it a lot over the course of the next 2 hours. But I feel good about LSU, about the matchup, about the trends, about the tendencies, about the stadium, and about what LSU's got on the mound. So we've still got a lot to talk about over the course of, like I said, these next 2 hours. I want to get into my 2 key guys on the weekend. I'm going to get into that in the second hour. That's also going to go up on LouisianaSports.net. Right when the show's over, there's a station survey talked about to the entire station about who they think the key players for LSU are this weekend. I've got 2 key guys that I'll get to in the second hour. Luke Johnson coming at you in 15 minutes. Preston Guy talking some football as well. So lots and lots to do. If you like beer and you would like to win some beer, we're going to do some trivia in the next segment. You'll have a chance to call in and win. It's going to be a great weekend to have some cold pops. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: You. Auctioneer Andrews Institute. Long live you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
All right, we'll chat some Saints with Luke Johnson coming up in 15 minutes. You've got a chance right now, though, to win a Flight by Yingling prize pack. That's going to conclude some, well, it's not cold beer. It's room temperature beer currently. You can make it cold, but there's a case of beer, a Bluetooth ice chest, and a hat downstairs at Guarantee right now. But you got to get this trivia question right. You're going to call in. The number is 499-1045, and we're going to put you on the air. You're going to talk to me, 499-1045. If you've got the answer to this question right, you can win a Flight by Yingling prize pack. All right, last LSU player to hit a walk-off home run in a super regional game. Last LSU player to hit a walk-off home run in a super regional game. If you call, Beck's going to answer. He's going to put you on. I'm going to ask you the question, and we'll see who gets that and wins that Yingling prize pack on this Friday. So we'll wait for the phones to light up. I'll talk a little bit about the super regionals right now that are going on today. Right now, North Carolina is all over Arizona. 12-2 is the score from Chapel Hill right now. The Heels just got up early and often in this game. They hung 6 in the second inning that included 2 absurd diving catches, one that was robbing a home run in center field. So great start for the Heels. They're up 12-2. They're going to coast to a Game 1 win. They'll be one way win from Omaha over there in Chapel Hill. I want to talk about the rest of the regionals. There are 3 more games today. Miami's at Louisville. Florida State is in Corvallis to play Oregon State, and the late night game is Coastal Carolina against Auburn. All right, let's fire it up. I don't know what your name is, but you're live. Who was
Jeremy.
the last
Jeremy in Baton Rouge.
Jeremy in Baton Rouge. Tell me the last LSU player to hit a walk-off home run in a super regional game.
Tommy Tanks.
Tommy Tanks hit a walk-off home run in Omaha. That is incorrect, Jeremy. We're looking for a super regional game. So we'll continue on. If you know the answer, last LSU player to hit a walk-off home run in a super regional, then we'll take your call. Beck's answering another phone call. We'll see. That was a confident answer there with Tanks. That was incorrect. Who do we have
we
here,
got
Beck?
Chase from Sandoval.
Chase from Sandoval. What you got? You got the last LSU player to hit a walk-off home run in a super regional game?
Chris Shambra, 2015 versus UL.
You better believe it. I was there and down the third base line. It was a thing of beauty. LSU would win the next day and go to Omaha. That is the correct answer. Stay on the line. Beck will get your name and your contact information. I'll tell you if you're still on the line there that you can pick it up downstairs. Lady Jag down there at reception will have it until about 5 o'clock today. If you need to wait till Monday to come get it, we can do that as well. But that is the correct answer. Chris Shambra against ULL. That was an incredible day. I have a vivid memory of that day that I was just telling Beck and the crew that all thinks I'm 100 years old because that was 10 years ago now. But that was the same day that American Pharaoh won the Triple Crown. and I was at walk-ons, and that was the first Triple Crown winner in forever. So I was at walk-ons before the game started, and the Preakness was on, the Belmont was on, and the American Pharaoh comes coming down the backstretch and like is winning, and it looks like he's gonna win. And everybody's yelling and screaming, and all of a sudden this huge LSU chant breaks out with a bunch of drunks at walk-ons, myself included in all that mess. But that was a great afternoon watching Triple Crown, and then Chris Shambra beat ULL in Game 1 of that Super, which I guess was on a Saturday as well. So good get. You didn't think anybody was going to get that back? Well, second guy.
No, I guess I underestimated. I just thought that because it was, I remember his name.
How old were you in 2015?
I was a senior in high school.
Okay.
So I remember his name. I don't remember the game specifically because I wasn't watching every baseball game at that point, but I would not – that's not a guy that I would have guessed as just being a guy that wasn't watching every game.
That was kind of the point of the trivia question.
Yeah.
I do have 10 years of trivia asking experience, so that was kind of the point of the trivia question, but he tomahawked that thing. And interestingly, I just thought about this as well. Jim Hawthorne was still on the call back then. That ball was smoked, and Shambra kind of knew it when he hit it too. Ran around the bases. They ripped his jersey off.
Maybe I'll try to go find the call, and we can play it maybe coming back
if
or
you
something.
If you find that, that'd be good. But congratulations to our listener there. I already forgot his name. Was it Chris?
Chase, I think, from Sandoval.
Chase from Sandoval, so that's good. We'll get his name down to Lady Jag, and he can pick up that prize pack. Bluetooth ice chest from the folks at Flight by
sounds
Yuengling.
pretty cool.
And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see I got all my goodies here. The crew over from Yuengling brought us in a bunch of awesome stuff. So the beer is excellent. We'll talk about it when we play some Take It or Leave It later on in the show today. But I mentioned North Carolina way up on Arizona. They're up 10 runs. North Carolina is a legit national championship contender. A lot of the same guys you'll recall from last year. Gallagher is really good at third base, and they've got some dudes over there at North Carolina for sure. I don't have a great handle on Miami and Louisville. These are two non-1 seeds that won, and I tend to favor the home team there. Miami's closer, Walter, has been there forever and ever and ever. Miami hasn't hit a ton. They're always really talented, and they always play good defense. But I tend to favor Louisville. This is not one of Dan McDonald's best teams either. It was a mediocre team in the ACC. He had that run of really, really good teams. The Brendan McKay teams that were so good, and they just didn't have any success in Omaha. There was like a 5-year run there where Louisville and TCU were banging on the Omaha door and getting there like almost every year, and they never won any games. But now Dan McDonald's maybe got a second shot here, maybe a little bit of an easier run in the Super, and we'll see what they can do on that side of the bracket if they can get there. But I tend to favor the home team, Louisville, in that one. I cannot wait for Florida State and Oregon State this afternoon/evening. I don't know why they're playing at 5 o'clock our time, 3 o'clock their time, and Auburn is stuck at 8 o'clock our time. That doesn't make any sense. Like last weekend's schedule didn't make a lot of sense to me. But Florida State, Oregon State is going to be incredible. You're going to see Jamie Arnold tonight for Florida State. He's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. I don't know if Dax Whitney is going to pitch or not for Oregon State. He's their uber-talented freshman. At those 97s, got wicked stuff. I haven't seen projected starters for that game. But in any event, it's going to be a cool setting. I like – y'all have heard me say this before. I miss a little bit of the West Coast baseball stuff. I think it's healthy. I love the fact that Gage Jump and Thatcher Hurd pitch for LSU. I love the fact that Jordan Thompson and Derek Curiel play for LSU. I love the fact that that selfishly that the California guys flying over to Baton Rouge is making LSU better. But I do at the same time understand that you're weakening a lot of the West Coast, and the teams that were good over there just aren't as good as they once were. But I think Oregon State is still hanging on to some of that real talent. They're not as good as they were in 2017, 18, 19, but they're still good. And it's a cool little environment. They do take a lot of pride in their baseball in Corvallis because, well, the Oregon State fans do, because it's like the last thing that they're really still relevant in. They can't be relevant in football playing in whatever the Mountain West or whatever they are in. So Florida State flying all the way up there with all the talent they've got. There's 2 name brand programs. Like, that's a 10 out of 10 watchability for me. So I'll definitely be locked into that one this afternoon. I actually like Florida State to go there and win that regional. I like the way that the Seminoles looked last weekend with Mississippi State in town, and I think they're going to go on the road and win. And then Coastal and Auburn is infinitely fascinating to me as well. That'll be late night tonight. I am so excited. This is also a selfish thing, but like, we were at the box until 1 a.m. all last weekend, and now I get to sit on my couch until 1 a.m. and watch Auburn and not have to worry about doing a story and then doing the press conference and then coming home and all that. I just get to hang out and in a t-shirt and in the couch, watch baseball, and I'm fired up to do that. And that's going to be an awesome late night game. Sam Dutton is getting the ball for Auburn tonight. Coastal has 3 good starting pitchers, which is something that I've lamented the last couple months, that LSU just can't seem to find that guy. It looked like this was going to be the year that LSU was going to have Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson and either Chase Shores or even maybe Kason Evans or maybe Zach Cowan or maybe William Schmidt, or like one of those guys would emerge, and then nobody really did. Coastal's got those 3. Now, maybe Chase Shores is a third starter if he pitches in the Sun Belt all year. I don't know. But Coastal made quick work of their regional, and East Carolina dominated Florida 2 times while they were there. So I think Coastal is pretty good. I give them a shot to go to Auburn and win this regional. They're gonna have to get to Auburn's secondary starting pitching. Like, sure, it's gonna help if they get to Sam Dutton, but like Auburn, like Cam Tilley, and like they've had some guys in the rotation that have had clunkers, and they did last week against Central Connecticut State. Auburn got down early in that game because their starting pitcher went out there and didn't have it. If that happens in this weekend, Coastal is more equipped than Central Connecticut State of making that stand up, because they do have good pitching. This is not – Coastal has some physical teams that could hit. I just mentioned in the last segment that Coastal hit 4 home runs off Alex Lang in that Super, and they went on to win the national championship. Like, they had some dudes that could really swing it. This is not a ferocious hitting lineup that Coastal Carolina has. Their pitching has kind of spearheaded them. My gut tells me that Auburn will hit that pitching, that Ike Irish and Cooper McMurray and those freshmen that really played well last weekend will emerge, and they'll swing the bats, and they'll win that. But I think that will go 3. I think Coastal will get a game in Auburn, and then Auburn will win the 3rd game and punch their ticket to Omaha on Sunday at some point. So those are my selections for this. I told you yesterday, so I knew they were going to be 2 hours old. I told you yesterday I thought North Carolina would win this regional. They're up 11 runs in the 7th inning. They're going to win that super regional. Arizona's not good enough to go there and win. I like Louisville maybe in 3 games. I like Florida State in 2 games. I think they'll go up there and sweep Oregon State, and I like Auburn to win that in 3 games. Later on, I'll talk about the ones that start tomorrow. That's LSU's side of the bracket that's honestly more impactful, and certainly I got to talk about Tennessee and Arkansas. I'll give you some thoughts on UTSA and UCLA, and then you've obviously got Murray State and Duke. Duke's best player is suspended. They had Duke's coach was making his plea on the media rounds this week, and doesn't appear that they're going to get that suspension overturned, but it's just completely ridiculous that we are where we are with all that. So I'll talk about all those supers in hour number 2 as we move forward here on this Friday. When we come back, Luke Johnson talking Saints OTAs. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Look, every single new Genesis purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. And every single new Genesis purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance. That's just a promise they make to you. It's part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. Go and chat with their staff. Go to the dealership, Airline at Piku. You're going to walk into that facility. I've been in a lot of showrooms in my day. It's as nice an ambiance. It's as gorgeous a facility as you will find. It is clean. It is comfortable. They've got the great coffee maker. Got the incredible snacks. They've got a welcoming staff. And they got a great line of vehicles. Put it on your list next time you're in the market for a vehicle. That may be next month. That may be next year. But when you're ready to get behind the wheel of a new ride, just put Genesis on your list. It's a luxury vehicle at a reasonable price. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Back to the plate. Here's Bacon's 2-2 pitch. Fly ball. That's it. Well to right field. It could be. It might be. It is. Tigers win. Tigers win. Chambray hits it into the right field bleachers.
I like that. I wasn't expecting it. I'd forgotten you were going to play that, and that is it. Hawthorne nailed that one. That was a fun night at the box. There's a chance Luke was on the beat then. Luke Johnson, were you on the baseball beat when Chambray did that?
I honestly can't remember. What year was that?
2015?
No, I was in Lafayette.
Okay, because they played against UL Lafayette. That was who it was against. It was game one of the Super that year against the Cajuns before they went to Omaha and went 1-2 that year. But I thought you might.
So I did cover that game, but I wasn't covering LSU at that time.
Aha. Well, it was awesome. I was not covering anybody. I was in the stands and was over the legal limit, just to suggest.
Hunt the fan, just crushing buds. I love it.
That's what we like to see. All right, Luke, let's talk some Saints. Let's talk OTAs. Quarterback is just the overwhelming theme, and so I feel like I can't start the interview without starting there. Anything over the last week that made you go, oh, okay?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think both guys that look at we're really just considering Rattler and Shuck, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Hainer hasn't even competed in any of the stuff that we've seen. I think both guys showed just some really nice stuff, right? And it's stuff that you have to temper with the fact that it's not a truly competitive setting. They don't have any pressure, but the stuff you see is encouraging. Shuck in particular just has a really good arm, man. It pops, and that isn't nothing. You can see some really good movement skills. You can see some really good placement skills, and then when he really just rips it, it's really impressive to see. And I think you can see in Spencer Rattler just some more comfort and confidence going into year 2 of his career. It looks better than it did last year, and we'll see if that holds up once they got guys down by their feet and they've got to navigate a kind of a muddy pocket, and they've got the full complement of defensive players on the other side of the ball. We don't have Tyrann Mathieu out there, so it's something that we've still got to see more of. But I think the early signs have been really encouraging from those guys.
Give me a sense of the responsibilities that you can see on the practice field between Kellen Moore and Doug Musmeyer. Does Kellen Moore look like an offensive coordinator, or does he look like a head coach kind of in the background?
I would say kind of the latter. You don't see a lot of Kellen doing like a lot of one-on-one, talking to guys and you're kind of talking him through stuff. He's not like, for instance, he's not as hands-on as Sean Payton was. But I think that's okay. I think that's kind of who he is. He sets the plan for the team, and how he wants them to play, and he's kind of leaning on his assistant coaches to do like the in person, up in your face, instruction. So he's most of the time when you're watching him like on the sidelines of practice, that like he's really just kind of behind everything, overseeing everything, and every now and then you'll see him kind of pop in and talk to guys.
Is he like a note taker on the practice field? He strikes me as a note taker.
No, or if he is, I haven't caught him doing that. Just being completely frank with you, like I haven't done a thing where I'm just like watching Kellen Moore the entire time.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the time that like I do notice him, he is just kind of standing off to the back and looking at everything. And he is the type of person, and like I think a lot of NFL coaches are this way, particularly like play calling coaches. He's the type of person who strikes me as having really, really good mental recall. So maybe like not taking notes, but like maybe taking mental notes, if that makes sense.
For sure, and they're going to take a million looks at the footage of practice after it's over, so
right.
you get how that always works. I'm curious your thoughts on Kelvin Banks. I know that it's a lot of 7-on-7, so that's not involving the offensive line. But your thoughts after a few weeks of seeing him with a helmet on?
Yeah, I mean, he is just like very much a guy who looks the part, right? And like that part is important at this stage, but like at the same time, like it's just impossible to get like a real sense of like what he's going to look like when he's actually blocking NFL defensive linemen. But the fact that they've just like kind of put him in at left tackle and left him there makes me feel pretty good about it. They're not trying to move him around. They're just like letting him go in at like the premier position on the offensive line and just play it. After that kind of initial shuffle where they moved Fuaga to the right side and they moved Penning to guard, we haven't really seen any more moving parts in that offensive line. That tells me they feel pretty good about him. And just like as a specimen, like he looks like a top 10 draft pick. He's big, he's long, and he moves well. But like I am really looking forward to seeing what he looks like in training camp, and seeing when they get these guys in like some of these one-on-one settings where you can kind of see those skills manifest on the actual football field doing what he's supposed to be doing.
How much pressure, if any, is on Kendre Miller?
A lot.
Okay.
Look, they were out there yesterday, and they were doing like walkthroughs of team, and Kendre was in the second group on the far field with the backups. And this is a team that doesn't have Alvin Kamara out there for OTAs. I don't think I don't think his roster spot is secure on this team. He's going to have to show it. He's going to have to earn it, because I think the guys behind him are. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has like skins on the wall in the NFL. Devin Neal was a 6th-round pick, but like a lot of people liked him as like maybe like an early day 3 guy, or even like a late day 2, like back half of the 3rd round kind of guy. And they have this undrafted rookie running back, Marcus Yarns, he's not going to be a guy who's getting 15 touches a game or whatever, but like they like him. He was with that starter group, so I think he's got a ways to go to prove that he belongs on this roster. And he was a 3rd round pick a couple years ago, yes, but that was under a different regime, different coaches, and I think he's fully in the got to prove it spot right now.
I'm torn on him because I don't know how much of the friction was Dennis Allen just really not approving of the way things went, or was just the fact that Miller was unavailable. Like I'm torn on, but how much to blame Kendre Miller? Where do you stand on that?
I mean, I think he's certainly earned his share of it, right? Like there's definitely like some friction with Dennis Allen, but as my colleague brought up the other day, he had a blank slate with Darren Rizzi, and he got benched by Darren Rizzi too.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think this is just a Dennis Allen thing. I think that was kind of like an easy way to place the blame for a player who hasn't met the team's expectations since he was a fairly high draft pick. The ability is clearly there. Like you can see it when he's on the field. But I don't think it's just the injuries. The injuries are a huge part of it, but I think he's got to learn how to be a pro. He's still like a really young guy. He was 20 years old when he was drafted. I think that makes him like 22 or 23 right now. If for a guy who's entering his third professional season, but I think he's got some maturing to do.
A lot younger than Tyler Shook at that age, which is interesting to think about. Last position I wanted to get your thoughts on. This is just an open-ended deal. Linebacker, like any thoughts?
No, that's another one that's really tough to get a sense of. Basically we're just seeing these guys in coverage. We did see DeMario out there for the first time, and I do think that they're going to do some interesting things with their linebackers structurally. I think we're going to see a lot more of them as pass rushers. And I think that's going to be interesting. I think that could be something that suits DeMario really, really well. Because at this stage of his career, I think he's a lot better going kind of north and south as a player than he is moving laterally. And I think he's still flashed just like pass rushing instincts in the last couple of years, so that could be really good for him. But like as far as like whether we're going to see like Pete Werner take a step forward or whether Danny Stutzman can be a guy for this team, I think it's still way too early to tell.
Get more of a sense of that in training camp when they actually put some pads on. Luke, we appreciate some time. Have a great weekend. We'll talk next week.
Yeah, my pleasure, buddy.
He is Luke Johnson with The Advocate. You can check him out on Twitter @ByLukeJohnson. A lot of great Saints content. It never really sleeps over there. It's always draft or rookie minicamp or OTAs, and then you got mandatory minicamp that's coming up. And then before you know it, LSU's going to wrap this baseball season up at some point, and then it'll be all eyes on football, and it won't be that far away. So we appreciate Luke for giving us a little bit of time. If you're looking for Saints content all year long, Hunt on Saints is where you can always find it. YouTube, course, or wherever you find your podcast. Our Friday shows brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. How about this? If you're going to tailgate Sunday, tomorrow is an early tailgate. You certainly can go out there, but it's a 1 o'clock game, so you may have to tailgate real early for that. If you want to tailgate for the 5 o'clock game on Sunday after church, want to feed 20, 30 people, Corks can absolutely help you out with that. Big old trays of crispy fried catfish, jumbo Gulf shrimp, crispy shoestring fries. They got your honey butter rolls, beignet bites, and all the sauces. Go with the Cork sauce. That's my recommendation. The Corks brings you our Friday shows, and they're always awesome from a catering front. Or if you're just looking for a late lunch today or want some dinner while you're watching some baseball or some NBA basketball this weekend, Corks can always help you out with it. Check out the menu online at corksfishandshrimp.com. They're on Government between Foster and Jefferson. Corksfishandshrimp.com. They bring you our Friday shows. When we come back, I said something really dumb, and I'm going to need to kind of apologize for it and tell you why it matters in tomorrow's baseball game. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday shows brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Beck, how long have you been producing this show?
About a year and a half, I think.
Year and a half.
Maybe.
Have you ever known me to say or tweet anything really dumb?
Not really.
Oh wow!
Not
at least I was expecting.
Well, you definitely. I'm sure you have before, at least a few times, but usually it's not. Except for, of course, your very dumb tweet about LSU not being a lock to be a top 8 seed.
Truly the worst. That was really special too. So speaking of tweets, on Tuesday they sent out the Super Regional Times, and I published them on LouisianaSports.net, and I put out a tweet that said we got the Super Regional Times and they're awesome. And in the moment I sent that tweet out, just thinking solely like, I'm so sick of being at the box until 1 o'clock in the morning. It's wrecking everything at home with like bath time and nap time. My sleep schedule's all off. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. So when they came out and said that Saturday was at 1 and Sunday was at 5, I was like, oh, that's awesome. No late nights. Great. And so I was thinking that's great. I've lived in Louisiana my entire life. That's 37 and a half years. I've lived here the whole time. I did not consider that 1 o'clock on June the 7th was going to be like real hot. And part of that's because I'm in the press box. We've talked about my love or lack thereof for sitting in the press box during games. But, yeah, it's going to be really hot tomorrow. And I apologize for the fans that looked at that tweet and go, oh, man, what are these awesome game times? And then looked at it and go, oh, I get to go sit out in the bleachers at 1 o'clock when it's 98 with a heat index of 105. That's not that awesome, Hunt. That's on me. Bad tweet, bad thought, selfish thinking by me. I apologize for that. However, I do think that it creates a bit of a issue with the game on the field, because LSU hasn't really played a game that was 95 degrees yet, and I'm sure West Virginia hasn't either. And the two starters that are going to go out there and pitch tomorrow are absolute workhorses. You saw Cade Anderson in Norman, Oklahoma throw 137 pitches. You've seen him work into the 7th and 8th inning time and time again over the last month. We talked about Griffin Kern and just how much West Virginia has leaned on him. He's throwing over 115, 118 pitches in every outing. He threw a bajillion pitches last Friday, came back on 1 day's rest, and closed the game on Sunday. Like, these two dudes take the baseball, they throw 120 pitches, and they get you into the 7th or 8th inning. Like, that's what these guys do. Can you do that when the heat index on the field is 111? Like, that, to me, seems like it might be a factor. And right now, LSU's bullpen is suspect. Like, Chase Shores might be awesome tomorrow. Maverick Rizzi might be awesome tomorrow. Zach Cowan might be awesome tomorrow. Maybe Kason Evans is ready to go after 108 pitches on Monday. He's ready to go on Saturday, and he's going to be awesome tomorrow. Maybe so. They can do that. But they also have been suspect. And in any event, any of those guys I just named are more suspect than Cade Anderson on the mound. And I told you the same thing about West Virginia's pitching staff yesterday, how they've been overworked, the bullpen has. And there are a couple guys they're going to go to, but they've gotten knocked around a little bit of late, and both of them got hit hard in the regional. And so I'd rather face those guys than Kern. Well, Kern keeps going 122 pitches. It's going to feel different in Baton Rouge tomorrow than it does in Morgantown in April. So how long can he go? How quick can LSU get into the bullpen? I think fatigue is a big, big factor in the game tomorrow at 1 o'clock p.m. because it's never going to cool off unless they go 19 innings tomorrow. It's going to be hot the first pitch. It's going to be real hot the last pitch. So what offense is able to foul off some two-strike pitches, is able to string some hits together, is able to create a 27-pitch inning and then back that up with a 22-pitch inning, which maybe you only score 1 run in those 2 innings, but you've run up the pitch count 50 pitches in those 2 innings. That's a big deal. What pitcher can get some second pitch contact and get a ground out to second base instead of throwing the 9 pitches to strike the guy out? I'll take the 2-pitch out. That's a big deal. They're both guys that have struck out over 100. We know Cade Anderson is 1 or 2. I can't remember if Doyle passed him or not. They're in the top 2 in strikeouts in the country. And I'm not as concerned about it on Sunday when the 5th inning we're talking about 7 o'clock at night. That's just a little bit different than 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Tomorrow, fatigue for the starting pitchers is absolutely going to play a factor. It's just a matter of what lineup is willing to get that pitch count up, who's willing to hit with 2 strikes. And when I watch these 2 guys pitch, I've watched Anderson all year, and I've watched a good bit of Kern over the last 72 hours. Anderson's stuff is better, and there's a reason why MLB.com today had him pegged as the number 1 pick in the draft. If you missed that, MLB.com said number 1 to the Nationals, Cade Anderson. And you don't see that for Kern, who's a 5th-year pitcher. Anderson's put away stuff like looks better to me. So if he gets 2 strikes, bam, slider. Bam, high heater. Like, feels like that's more likely a put away situation than Kern, who is 91 with the fastball, kind of sneaky 91. The breaking stuff like doesn't look elite to me, but it's certainly missed a lot of bats. Now, he struck out a lot of guys. But the flip side of that is West Virginia doesn't strike out a lot. 4th fewest in the Big 12. LSU prided itself early in the season on really not striking out much at all. That number has climbed a little bit over the last month and a half. Now you're facing elite SEC dudes, so I get that. And they didn't strike out a lot last weekend against lesser pitching. So again, as I ball all this together and kind of take out of it what I find relevant, I kind of lean towards LSU. I kind of lean towards Cade Anderson putting guys away more quickly. I kind of lean towards LSU making Kern work more. And the key tomorrow for both teams is get that starter out of the game. Because there's some talented dudes in both bullpens, but they've gotten hit of late, and they've been inconsistent. And that feels like a huge, huge deal. Who gets into the bullpen in the 6th? Who has to wait until 2 outs in the 8th? That's a big, big deal. We'll see what materializes in tomorrow's game. First pitch tomorrow coming your way at 1 o'clock from the box. That means pregame over at the box on Eagle 98.1, 12:30 airtime. We'll hear Chris Blair, Buzzy Heidel, and Doug Thompson on the call. Very much looking forward. We'll talk more about that game as we move forward in hour number 2. If you missed hour number 1, you can catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Wherever you find your sound, you can find us. I wrote a piece on LouisianaSports.net with 3 keys to the weekend. Talked about that at 1 o'clock. Then we talked about the other Supers at 1:15. Luke Johnson chatting with us about the Saints at 1:30. You can find that on YouTube or on podcast form at Hunt on Saints. We got a lot to do in hour number 2. I've got 2 guys who I believe are keys to this entire weekend. I don't know where, but they've got to step up. I'm going to talk about that 20 minutes from right now. NFL's most likely worst of first teams in 2025. Maybe we'll get into some of that. And after SportsCenter, we'll talk with our guy Preston Guy from TigerBait.com. Big recruiting weekend last weekend for LSU. Big recruiting weekend this weekend for LSU. Plus, he said he's got a nugget on Tristan Keys, #1 wide receiver in the country, coming out of Mississippi. We'll do all that coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The quest for the Cup continues tonight when the Oilers welcome the Stars for Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. Edmonton is up 1-0. After losing in the Western Conference Final a third consecutive year, the Stars have fired coach Pete DeBoer. It's on to Pittsburgh today for quarterback Aaron Rodgers, set to travel to join the Steelers ahead of next week's mandatory minicamp. Pittsburgh's hoping he can lead them to postseason success. Unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty is not so sure.
Aaron Rodgers is going into his age 42 season. Players don't get healthier. Players typically don't get better as they get older. Everybody ain't Tom Brady. I don't think that this commitment, this gamble that they're taking is gonna work out for them. I don't believe they're gonna get the return on investment for all the drama that they've been dealing with all offseason.
NBA, the Knicks interested in speaking with Mavericks coach Jason Kidd about their head coaching vacancy. No word yet if Dallas will grant permission. Oregon receiver Evan Stewart suffered a knee injury that's expected to impact his availability this college football season. The injury reportedly could be a season ender.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty, coming up Monday. Now that Aaron Rodgers is finally a Steeler, I'll tell you what that means for them when it comes to the AFC North. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, final hour of the week. Hunt Palmer Show on a Friday, brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Got some baseball to talk here at the bottom of the hour. Game 1 of Super Regional Weekend is in the books. North Carolina 18, Arizona 2. So North Carolina 1 win away up in Chapel Hill from a second consecutive trip up to Omaha. We'll talk some more baseball moving forward, but we got to talk some football now with Preston Guy. TigerBait.com. He's with us on Fridays. Preston, how are you?
I'm doing very good. I've got my stepfather's half of the family all talking trash to me this week as they are all West Virginia alums, and I've got my tickets secured Sunday night. And I just want to say if we roll out Monday and it is not Case and Evans, I will be very disappointed.
Well, they got to figure out when to use him. They may have to use him to win one of the first 2 games, so we'll see.
Well, hear me out. If you drop one of the first ones, don't use, like if you drop game 1, save them because you need them game 3. But if it's to go out there and secure a win, you might not need game 3. So that's understandable. But I do think he's your number 3 starter. I mean, what he just did last week was heroic. I just want to give him a shout out. But we can transition into gridiron now if you need to.
Big shout out, Case and Evans. That was monumental Herculean work there on Monday evening. Yeah, let's talk a little bit of football. We're in the middle of camp season, a visit season. But the class right now for 2026, which all signs in December of 2025, is light on numbers. Are you concerned about that at all?
No, because this is when it picks up. You know, last weekend was their first big weekend of official visitors. Now, a little concerning that they didn't pick up anything last week with all the big-name guys and all the, frankly, the wonderful words that me and the Tiger Bait crew heard from these guys from their camp. I was a little disappointed to see that, you know, there wasn't anything pop off last weekend. However, they have a very strong class, a very top-heavy class right now, and in 8 weeks it's going to look a lot different, and that, you know, that really is going to continue this weekend with more official visits. And, oh, boy, a ton of 7-on-7 talent will be on campus tomorrow. So, and I'll be out there, and we'll be seeing who's there. So my only guess is that a lot more guys are getting more organized, and they're not wanting to make an early decision just because they get, one offer that they like or whatever. They're trying to be more organized and see what cards they're dealt, especially with this, the NIL landscape of everything. Now that they get money on the table, they're just trying to be a little more organized. But no, I'm not too worried. In 8 weeks, if we're sitting where we're at, I'll be a little worried.
You mentioned last week being a huge weekend of high-name visitors. Like, is there one of those guys you feel best about, whether it's Bo Bentley at quarterback, whether it's Emmanuel Iheanacho at offensive line, maybe Zayden Crimpin at offensive line? I know there were some big names on campus. Is there one that you kind of got eyes on over the next couple of weeks?
All right, let me ask you, we're talking in terms of good that they're going to get them or good that they need to get them?
That they're going to get them.
Yeah. Man, I really like the Deuce Gerald's kid. I actually had a chance to talk to him out of Sewanee, Georgia. He's a defensive lineman. I like their odds with him, although he is going to be calm and take more official visits and let things play. I think that's a kid who I think LSU's got a really, really good chance at. In terms of, let me go ahead and address need. Bo Bentley, that quarterback.
Yep.
If LSU doesn't get Bo Bentley, I'm not sure who they do get in this 2026 cycle. Mind you, the 2027 cycle is ridiculously stacked in terms of kids who LSU not only is on LSU's radar, but LSU's on their radar. Think about Colton Nussmeier, kid from Evangel, and kid from Dunham.
Yeah, Elijah Haven.
It is, yeah. I mean, just star-studded class here. Peyton Houston, it's just a big class next year. So you have to wonder, okay, if you remember the class before Leonard Fournette, they didn't take a running back, right? They wanted him to, open up the floodgates and say, hey, man, you're the dude. We're not taking – nobody's in the way of you. Come in, you're going to play right away. Maybe if you can't get a stud quarterback like a top 10 guy like Bo Bentley, maybe you don't want to take a 3-star guy who is going to scare off, next year's whoever. Maybe there's an advantage to say, hey, look, we didn't take a guy. I don't know. That does go against my personal philosophy. I think every single recruiting class you sign, you should be able to field a football team with. I understand in the portal era, that's a little, it's changed a little bit. Of course, they didn't sign a quarterback out of the freshman class last year, but they did bring in Michael Van Buren. That'd be interesting if you go back-to-back years without signing a quarterback out of the freshman class. That I can't tell you the last time I saw that.
Yeah, that would be a huge no-no in a bygone era, but that is what that is. That's a bygone era. Obviously, I mean, that group we're talking about was in last weekend. You've got 2 more weekends here in June with some more modest visitor lists, and then you look at June 20th, and you're talking about Blaine Bradford, Lamar Brown, Boovie Feaster, Haven Finney, Tristan Keys, Jabari Mack. Like, that's a lot of big names. Does it feel like they kind of front-loaded it, and then they're kind of back-loading June as well?
Yeah, but mind you, even though there's not going to be a ton of officials in between those two, it's going to be a lot of unofficials. So you're going to get a lot of kids on campus tomorrow. They're coming, with their teams and stuff for 7-on-7. You're going to get a lot of kids there taking visits in an unofficial capacity. And, of course, in my opinion, it's a good strategy because when you have that many unofficials coming in, it's harder to pay as much attention to the official visitors. And one of the big differences in an official and unofficial visits, on an official, the head coach, I'm talking in particular, really spends time with you in a way that, he's not able to for an unofficial visit. It's just something, it's just the way it is. And I think that if you were to book officials during these busy weeks, you're just not going to get as much traction with the kids. So, yes, I do think a good bit of that is by design. But, yes, circle June 20th on your calendar. If after that weekend we don't hear some things moving, and by the way, a chance to reinforce where you stand with Tristan Keys, who's currently your crown jewel for the class, maybe have a little bit of pause.
Keys is seeing the world. Miami, College Station, going to be in Baton Rouge later this month. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, and, another thing that popped up that had a lot of fans worried, he just signed a $500,000 NIL deal with Adidas. And LSU's a Nike school. And, in talking to people, they would, they're more worried about the terms of that Adidas deal. Is it a 1-year deal while he's in high school, or is it going to go into college? Because if it does go into college, that does give it an Adidas school an advantage over LSU. And I'll say this, before the NIL years, schools with Adidas deals lined up were a little harder to recruit kids than schools who didn't have Adidas deals for LSU. I don't want to speak to the specifics on that or anything, but just basically, it just makes life a little harder when you're not aligned with the person who your athlete is aligned with. So that's a little concerning, but I've been working some, sources behind the scenes, and a lot of people who know LSU's not overly concerned about it. And a lot of people are like, well, he's taking all these official visits. Well, I mean, that's called being intelligent. I mean, if you're a young kid with all these, paid for trips to go see the world coming at you, why are you turning these things down? You don't turn them down. That's silly. And alternatively, it's always good to have a backup plan. You never know what happens to a coach or anything in a school. You might need to be familiar with another program. So ultimately, as it stands right now, based on what I'm talking to and what I'm hearing, LSU is in good standing with Tristan Keys, and there's nothing to worry about yet. Now, this is recruiting in the NIL era. I'm never going to be more than 90% on any kid ever again. So, just always throw that caveat when talking about recruits.
I think most people get it. Now, I think there was a time where everybody panicked and threw stuff all over the place and went nuts on signing day. I think I don't know anybody that's now watching that's shocked when somebody that's been committed for a while decides to go elsewhere. Just everyone's kind of desensitized to the whole thing, I think. Or is that your experience?
Well, let me put it like this. There's no lack of melting that goes down when you lose the kids you want. Our most viewed show last year, we had an impromptu Bryce Underwood decommit show. It was massive. And look, I still have people talking trash about me, even though I gave that same disclaimer for the entire Bryce Underwood saga about not ever being more than 90%. They're still like, how could you not see this coming? And it's like, well, we all were talking about it. I just was telling you what we had heard and seen, and it was a lot of money. And I don't think it's money that anybody else would have turned down, and that's always a possibility for Tristan Keys, is that someone comes in with a boatload of money that he would have to be stupid to turn down. That's always on the table.
Certainly is. We shall see. Enjoy the 7-on-7 tomorrow. Enjoy the baseball on Saturday. We'll talk next week.
All right, Hunt. See you soon.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. You're looking for recruiting coverage, LSU team coverage. They got you over there at TigerBait.com. Our Friday shows are brought to you by Corks. We'll come back. Two guys that I think have to play a huge role this weekend for LSU. We'll do it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety is a big deal in the bathroom, especially as folks age. If you have someone in your life that's aging, wants to stay home, but you feel like the bathroom could be a hazardous spot, do what you can to mitigate that damage. You can never take the risk away. You can mitigate. Non-slip floors, guardrails, walk-in tubs that are more convenient, safer, showers with the bench. All of that can be done with one phone call. One Bath and Closets. David Duvall has been doing this for 30 years. He can absolutely help you. He can customize things, tailor them to your needs, and when they're done, it's going to look beautiful, it's going to be functional, and they're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. Go check out their great work, see some of the testimonials, and get that free consultation at OneBathAndClosets.com. One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Pearl Jam, and the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
All right, fired up. Super regional action at the box. That's how it should be. I sit there in the fall, October, and watch them practice and scrimmage, and it's quiet in there, and just kind of enjoying watching the game while I'm taking some notes. But I think about it all the time while I'm there in October, and it's quiet, and there's only 100 people in the seats, and it's some players' families, and it's some fans, some scouts, and they're playing, and there's country music. I go, this place is so awesome in June when it's full. And it's not full all year. And it's going to be full this weekend. And certainly on Sunday at 5 o'clock, it'll be packed to the gills, no matter if LSU wins on Saturday or not. And that's an awesome, awesome thing that I just can't wait to see. Now, I've got a couple of guys that I just think have to play a big role in this game, in this weekend, I should say. Now, I can paint you a picture where Anderson throws 8 shutout on Saturday and Ianson throws 8 shutout on Sunday, and the lineup scores 8 both days, and LSU just kicks their teeth in. Like, that is a plausible scenario. It's improbable, in my opinion. It's that the LSU offense hasn't been that consistent all year. That's asking for near perfection from your two guys. It's just rarely that easy. It's possible. I think it's improbable. What I think is most likely is that you play fairly low-scoring games, because I think West Virginia's 2 pitchers are pretty good. And so I think it's likely, to me, that Cade Anderson exits somewhere between 6 2/3 and 8 1/3, and it's a 2 or 3 run game, one way or another. And I think it's the same on Sunday. And at some point, Kason Evans is going to be called upon. Now, how he feels and what he looks like, we'll see. he's been a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of his role and his performance the last month. But those three guys can't do everything. And so at some point over the next 2 days, Chase Shores and Zach Cowan are going to get the baseball. And I have seen both of those two dudes look awesome. It can happen. Zach Cowan, in a huge spot, in a tie game against Arkansas at the box, shut them out for 3 innings. He was absolute nails before you got to College Station. That's 6 weeks of league play against the best league in the country. He can do it. He hasn't forgotten how to pitch. He hasn't completely lost it. There's no massive velo tick down. He's not hurt. He just hasn't pitched as well. And Shores reinvented himself briefly there, coming out of the stretch. And the ball's coming out of his hand at 100 miles an hour. And the guy that you saw in Hoover, the guy that you saw in Columbia, South Carolina, like, that guy's still there. That was 3 weeks ago. That was 2 weeks ago. LSU has got to have those two guys. I just don't think LSU's going to crush West Virginia 2 straight games. And maybe you lose one game by 3 or 4 runs, and you got to come back Sunday. Well, Kason Evans is probably not going to go 7 innings. It's ambitious to think he'll go 6 dominant again like he did against Little Rock. West Virginia's not Little Rock. So those two guys have got to throw the ball. Like, I'm not convinced that you're going to need to see DJ Primo and William Schmidt in this weekend. But Jay Johnson's going to go to Zach Cowan and Chase Shores at some point. And they cannot falter. And you're going to look at this and go, well, Cowan's been bad 4 of his last 5 outings. Shores couldn't throw to the plate. And I'm just going to point you back to what we've seen in the postseason from LSU over the years. I'm going to point you to Will Helmers last year. I'm going to point you to Nate Ackenhausen and Griffin Herring in Omaha. I'm going to point you to what you saw to Caleb Gilbert against Oregon State. I'm going to send you up to Eugene, Oregon, and Javen Coleman going 5 innings. Like, these guys have way more skins on the wall than what those dudes had entering those outings in the postseason in the biggest spots. You just need them to come through. And I don't think that West Virginia is going to beat you bashing the ball all over the place. I just don't. And Shores may walk the park. He's shown that. Cowan's generally not. Now, he didn't have great command on Monday, and he walked a couple guys, and then he did give up a couple of line drive hits, and you had to yank him after 4 outs. But I would suggest if those two guys don't step it up this weekend, that LSU could be in some trouble. Again, I've painted you a scenario where it doesn't matter. And if LSU this weekend plays like they did against Kentucky 2 years ago in the Super, it's not going to matter. Because they're just bludgeoning them, and the starters will be great, and that'll be it. But I asked Jay Johnson on this show on Tuesday, what's your confidence level in Cowan? And I told you on Tuesday, and I told you on Wednesday, like, I don't expect him to come on the show and go, well, Cowan's gotten hit 4 of his last 5 outings, and that guy just is done. I can't use him anymore, and it was a good run from a guy from a little school, but he's done. He said he's got confidence in him, and I choose to believe that you are going to see Zach Cowan in a high-leverage spot this weekend. My guess is, and let me be very clear about this, this is a guess. No sourcing, no information, no scoop, none of that. This is a guess with the exact same amount of information you have, the listener. I think if LSU goes to the 9th inning with a 1 or 2 run lead on Saturday, that Zach Cowan will get the ball. That's my guess. Kason Evans is a freshman. He threw 108 pitches on Monday, and I think there's a chance that they will hold him until Saturday with an idea that he may need to stretch on Monday. Now, I could be dead wrong. They may have already made the decision. They may have done. They have a testing mechanism at the box that tests recovery and elbow strength and shoulder strength and how guys bounce back and how people are feeling every day. And they may have tested Kaysen Evans today at lunchtime, and he's ready to go, and they've got more confidence in him now, and he's feeling good, and they may go to him in the ninth inning tomorrow. I'm not telling you that they won't. My guess is that Zach Callen's going to get the ball. And he's just got to come through. I'm not concerned about Cade Anderson. I'm not concerned about Anthony Ianson, and I kind of know what the LSU offense is. The volatility over the last month of Shores and Callen concerns me, but also gives me a little bit of optimism. Speaking to Anderson and Ianson, I made this decision with Paul Skeens too late, but I made the decision. At a certain point, guys have to have put so much goodwill in the bank that it's foolish to dismiss it. And I just am so confident that Cade Anderson's going to take the baseball tomorrow, and he is going to throw 7 innings of one-run baseball with 10 strikeouts. Like, there's a part of me that there's a bit of a pessimistic side when analyzing things, and I've gotten to the point in covering things and just watching, like, there's a point where that just becomes foolish. It would be foolish for me to think that Cade Anderson was going to go out there tomorrow and give up five runs in 4 innings and get chased. Like, that hasn't happened in a month and a half. He's faced Tennessee. He's faced Arkansas. He's going to be great. And the same thing goes for Anthony Ianson. He's faced Tennessee. He's faced Arkansas. He faced Texas A&M. He's going to be great. It's the next guys that have just got to pick up that slack. And we know that. We've talked about it for a month and a half now. But now it's time to do it. Like, there was always like a runway of like, well, is this guy trending in the right direction? Is this guy looking good? Maybe he's an option. He's throwing the ball better. Did they make this tweak? Now it's time. It's time to do it. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if Zach Callen comes out there in the 9th inning on Saturday at the run lead and they hit 3 missiles right at the left fielder. Just get out of it. But that, to me, is the biggest key. I think LSU's offense is going to be good, not great. I think LSU's top 2 pitchers are going to be great, not good. And I think the variability is in the high leverage relievers that are inevitably going to come into one of these games that is in the balance. And they've got to get it done. That, to me, is just a massive, massive key. I asked every member of the on-air staff here on 104.5 ESPN what their key was and what they thought the result of the Super Regional would be. That's going to be published in 33 minutes up at louisianasports.net, so you can check that out when your workday is done or when you're got some free time this evening. But everybody's got their thoughts on that, and there are a lot of different thoughts as well. So we'll get to that as we move forward. I want to talk about the rest of the Supers, namely Arkansas and Tennessee. Who should LSU fans be pulling for in that? I've got a strong, strong feeling on that. We'll do it when we come back on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Captives. Been telling you about it all week. If you are a business owner and you're not sure what an insurance captive is because your broker hasn't presented that, maybe they're not familiar, they don't have experience in that field. Well, the Highland Insurance Group does, and I think it's the future of insurance. They certainly do too, and it could be a massive, massive deal to your bottom line as a business owner. If you fit into a captive and you get into a group that has great risk management and you take care of your operations, keep those costs down, drives those premiums down as a group. It's what the model of the captive is. So if you'd like to learn more about it and talk to people that know a lot more about it than I do, because I haven't been in insurance in 4 years now, talk to the Highland Insurance Group. Jonathan Carver and his team are phenomenal to work with. They're here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. Any line of work, they're happy to help look at your policies, audit them, and if a captive works for you, they can find you the right one. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
All right, half an hour to go here on this Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Super regional action. First game is in the books. North Carolina beat Arizona 913-2, something along those lines.
18-2.
18-2 was the final from Chapel Hill. 3 more games to go. I'm most excited for Oregon State, Florida State this evening, and then you'll see Auburn and Coastal from the Plains late night tonight at 8 o'clock. But I wanted to talk about LSU's side of the bracket, which starts tomorrow in Super Regional play, and specifically Tennessee and Arkansas, because that's the winner is who LSU would get should the Tigers advance to Omaha. And I have a very, very strong feeling about which team I would like to win that game, therefore play LSU in the first game. And I think, to me, it's Arkansas. Here's my reasoning. When I evaluate pitching, and I'm not a scout, and I'm not a general manager, and I'm not a college baseball coach, I'm not a recruiter, I'm just a guy with a microphone. But I like stuff in pitchers. I like velocity. I like spin rate. I like guys that just have nasty stuff. Because I think with college hitters, that swing at bad pitches, that can struggle with velocity. I think that you can make more mistakes and get away with it when you've got great stuff. Now, sometimes you've got guys that have incredible stuff that just don't seem to get a lot of outs. Like Chase Shores for the first half of this year was throwing 98 miles an hour, and SEC teams were hitting 305 against him. But I err on that side. And to me, if LSU wins this Super Regional and goes to Omaha, I just don't want to look at Liam Doyle. Like, that's the one guy in the nation I don't want to face. Jamie Arnold's a close second. He's on the other side. But Zach Root's good. He pitched great against LSU in Baton Rouge. LSU got to the Arkansas bullpen and won that game. But he's really good. I just would rather face him. If I had the choice, I'd rather face Root than Doyle. Now, Liam Doyle pitched against Arkansas a month ago. And Arkansas won that game, and they tattooed Liam Doyle like he has not been hit since last year against Ole Miss. He did not make it out of the fifth inning. He only threw 4 2/3 in that game. He gave up 11 hits to the Hog lineup in that game, which is by far and away the best look anybody has seen from Liam Doyle. They scored 6 runs that were earned, 8 total. There were 10 strikeouts, but Arkansas won that game. I just don't want to deal with him. I think that Arkansas's lineup is probably a little bit better than Tennessee's. It's splitting hairs at that point. And I honestly think Arkansas's team is better, like, when you factor in the entirety of the bracket, so like a week's worth of baseball. Because a lot of times in Omaha, you might play a team 2 times or 3 times. LSU played Wake Forest 3 times. LSU played Oregon State in 17 3 times. And once you get Doyle off the mound and you get to Marcus Phillips, who's very good, and then you get to Nate Snead and then the rest of their relievers, I think Arkansas is better than Tennessee from the rest of the staff. But if we're being honest about LSU in Omaha and their best chance to go win the College World Series, it's winning the first 2 games in Omaha. And facing Liam Doyle in one of those is just not ideal. Now, I can extrapolate this out further and play crazy hypotheticals and go, okay, well, let's just do this. LSU beats West Virginia and they get to Omaha and they do play Tennessee. And they play Liam Doyle and they lose. Okay. Well, then here's how that's going to look. They're going to have to come back the next day and beat UTSA or Duke or somebody like that with Anthony Ianson. And then they're going to have to come back and play somebody else. And then they'll get someone down the line from Tennessee on Thursday or Friday. And on Thursday. And then they'll have to come back and beat Doyle on Friday in Omaha. That's how that would you're going to have to, if Tennessee gets there and Tennessee gets into the winner's bracket, you're going to have to beat Liam Doyle 1 of 2 times. With Arkansas, I'm not as concerned with the opening game. And if I win that opening game, then Arkansas is going to and if I can win that game against Arkansas with Cade Anderson on the mound, then Arkansas is theoretically going to have to come beat me twice down the line, and I get to throw Anderson in one of those games. So that's a lot of hypothetical, and it's a lot of moving parts. And it's very wishful thinking that LSU is just going to cruise. But it's not hard to extrapolate next Saturday. And next Saturday is either Cade Anderson against Zach Root in Arkansas or Liam Doyle in Tennessee. And I would just rather play Arkansas. That's my feeling on the matter. Now, how do I think the Super Regional goes between those 2 teams with the understanding that Liam Doyle's already got knocked around a little bit in Fayetteville just a month ago? I think Tennessee's going to win the series. And I think Tennessee's going to win the series because I think Liam Doyle's going to win tomorrow. Now, I asked yesterday Joe Healy who he thought Tennessee would pitch on Saturday because Doyle threw Friday and then came back on Monday and went 2 1/3 inning. He came in the 7th inning of that game on Monday against Wake Forest. And keep in mind, Tony Vitello is maniacal about staying in order. I thought it was a massive mistake on Tony Vitello's part in 2023 when they opened with Paul Skeens and LSU in Omaha on Saturday night, and he went out there and threw Andrew Lindsey instead of Chase Dolander. I thought that was nuts. But Andrew Lindsey had been pitching on Fridays, and he pitched on Fridays when Dolander lost his spot in the weekend rotation late in the season, and then he pitched on Friday in the regional, and then he pitched on Friday in the Super, so he pitched on Friday in the first game in Omaha. I thought that was nuts. But it's what he does, and that's why he threw Liam Doyle in the first game against Miami of Ohio in the regional, and I thought that was nuts. But now, does his hand get forced because Doyle pitched on Monday that you're just going to hold him until Sunday? I don't know. The general wisdom would be that would be Doyle's bullpen session on Monday and that he's ready to go in game one on Saturday. I've told you this a little bit, and I kind of liked it when LSU went to Columbia, South Carolina, and needed to get one. Even though they lost that first one, I felt pretty good because Anderson and Ianson were coming up. I feel like if Tennessee goes out there and doesn't throw Doyle in the first game against Root, even if they win, then you got Doyle going to go to Omaha. If you lose, well, we got Doyle going. I kind of like that mental deal, but that's just not how Vitello rules. And I think Tony Vitello is going to go with Liam Doyle against Zach Root on Saturday, and that will be appointment television. I just cannot wait to see what that environment looks like. LSU will have their own hands full at 1 o'clock. I haven't looked at that game time, to be quite honest with you. I've got it right here. So that's right after LSU. LSU will play West Virginia at 1, and Tennessee and Arkansas are exactly 3 hours later at 4 o'clock. So if LSU can wrap things up in 2 hours and 50 minutes, and I can go down and watch a post-game press conference and type my story up, I can be seated at home for the top of the third in that game, and that would be completely ideal for me. But I think, my personal opinion, I would rather play Arkansas and Omaha than Tennessee because I think Liam Doyle is the toughest matchup as a starting pitcher in the field right now. So the rest of LSU's bracket, because I gave you picks in the other bracket, UTSA looked great last weekend. They've got legit stuff on the mound, a lot of 94s for the Roadrunners, and they hit for 3 days in Austin. So this may be unfair. I've lost faith in West Coast baseball, probably outside of Oregon State, and UCLA very much falls into that. Really nice run in the Big Ten, 45-16 record, number 15 national seed. All that's well and dandy. I think UTSA goes there and wins in 3 games. Give me the Roadrunners there. And then the other one is Duke and Murray State. Maybe a little drama in Duke under the surface. There's a chance that Pollard, their head coach, has done such a great job there, might jump for Virginia. That's kind of been the scuttlebutt. They have potentially their top 2 hitters out in the first game, a suspension and an injury. And Murray State played great in Oxford. Like, it takes a lot if you're Murray State to first they beat Ole Miss on Friday. Then they came back and won the winner's bracket game against Georgia Tech on Saturday. And then they got beat on Sunday by Ole Miss. You had to come back into the Snake Pit in Oxford and handle business on a Monday. And they did it. They were awesome. So they're playing great. All that said, I'll take Duke. I think their offense is better. They don't have great pitching. They have a lot of different options out of the bullpen. The pitching's not great, but they showed up last weekend in Athens and got it done. So I will take on LSU's side of the bracket Duke in 2 games. I'll take UTSA in 3 games. I will take Tennessee in 2 games in Fayetteville. I think the Vols sweep that Super. My thoughts. I'll give you my final thoughts on LSU and West Virginia when we come back on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. I love telling you about the people that work for Genesis of Baton Rouge. I think that's so important. They take it very seriously. And when you walk on to the lot, you're not going to be rushed or pressured. You're not going to be upsold or be sold a bill of goods that they don't have access to. You're going to be treated like a guest. That's important to them at Genesis of Baton Rouge. And that's not just your first time on the lot. That's from the sale, through the service, through the life of your ownership of that vehicle. That's why they want you to come back. That's why they give you a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty to come back and handle that service. That's why they give you 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance, where they'll come to you and take your car back to the dealership and get it serviced and leave you with a vehicle while that's being done and then bring yours back. They take their customer service incredibly seriously at Genesis of Baton Rouge. And that's why it's a wonderful place to go buy a car and to be a driver, because you're going to be back for the maintenance. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Start your process online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Go by and see them. Like I said, airline at Piku. Wonderful people, incredible line of vehicles. If you have not been by or been behind the wheel of a Genesis, I just could not recommend more strongly enough getting by and seeing my friends at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Our Rad Dad contest is back and bigger than ever. Roaming Shot Outdoors and Citizens Bank and Trust bring you Dad's favorite gifts ever: a green egg from Goodwood Hardware, a steak pack from Chris's Specialty Foods, manly soap from Hawk Soap, and a hunting class for two from Roaming Shot Outdoors. Upload pictures at 1045ESPN.com now through June 8th. Then get your friends and family to vote June 9th to the 12th. Happy Father's Day to all those rad dads out there.
All right, announcement from the box. West Virginia head coach confirming that Griffin Kern, left-hander, will get the baseball tomorrow. I don't know that was much of a discussion. Kern did pitch twice in the regional. He pitched on Friday and then came back and closed things out on Sunday, but that's 6 full days of rest, and he's clearly been their best pitcher all year. So it's no surprise at all that Kern will take the baseball in the game tomorrow. We talked about it for the last couple of days. He's a workhorse. He's tough as nails. He's got average stuff, but it plays up because of his herky-jerky wind-up and his bulldog mentality, to use a cliche. And he's been really, really good or solid in every outing. He's not had a bad outing all year. I just think LSU's starting pitcher tomorrow is better. And I think LSU's lineup is better. And so as I look at this matchup, and I have for a while, before I make a pick, I want to point this out. Like, neither of these teams has a third starter they're completely comfortable with. So if you get to Monday, it's going to be all hands on deck in a weird bullpen capacity, and both teams will hope they can get something, not necessarily striking out 9 guys in a row, but something resembling what Griffin Herring, what Case and Evans gave LSU in the game on Monday, where somebody that comes out of the bullpen starts to eat up a lot of the game. But we'll talk about that if we need to on Monday's show. I wouldn't think that LSU at the box would get an early Monday time if we get to a Game 3, so we'll probably be able to preview it for all the hours of this show, and it'll probably be a night game if we get to Monday. Here's my projection, though. I don't think there's going to be a Monday. I think LSU takes care of this Super Regional in 2 games. I gave you the statistic earlier in the show that in the SEC, Anthony Ianson and Cade Anderson won both of their starts 4 out of 5 times at that stadium. LSU's just better there. They're better on offense. They still pitch it great. And this is going to be something new for West Virginia jumping into this environment. They were in Clemson last weekend, and that's all well and good. This ain't Clemson. And I think the pitchers that LSU is going to throw out there are better. And I'm going to put some faith in the offense to put together 2 solid games. Do I think it's possible that LSU's offense might throw up a 2 or 3 spot with 7 bad innings on either Saturday or Sunday? Yeah, it's very possible. They've done it a lot this year. They've done it a lot away from home, not as much here. Yep, it did happen on Sunday last week. It can happen. I don't think it's going to happen this weekend. I think LSU plays a really good brand of baseball. They're solid. They're consistent. They give the ball to their aces, and they beat West Virginia at 2 games to none and head to Omaha. Hopefully, we're talking about that on Monday. But for right now, we got one more order of business, and it is take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Shout out to the folks at Flight by Yingling. They bring you take it or leave it every single day. If you were watching the show on YouTube today, you notice I got a cool bucket with all these cold beers in it. And we appreciate them for dropping all of that by. Big shout out to Justin Gilberti, one of the managers over there at Crescent Crown. Appreciate all of his hard work here in South Louisiana. And hey, if you want a summer beer down here in South Louisiana for tailgating, for golf, for fishing, for after you cut the yard, for the pool, Flight by Yingling. You're talking about 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, cold, crisp, refreshing light beer, the next generation of light beer. It is Flight by Yingling.
All righty, first one here. Hunt, you will consume at least 8 Coke Zeros over the weekend. Take it or leave it.
Oh, take it.
I'll take it.
That's going to be a lock. I mean, you're gonna.
Is that like the first day you're gonna have like? You said you had 7 on Monday, right?
I had a lot on Monday. It was bad. Like I needed.
That's really not
something.
good, Hunt. It's really bad.
Of course, it's not good. I can't handle myself during these baseball games. I'm a wreck. I'm a pathetic human. I don't even ask for forgiveness or it's just pitiful how I look in the press box during these games. I need to do something. So I got the baseball out of the press box. I'm chugging Coke Zeros. I'm
you really think that's going to help, though? You think chugging Coke Zeros is helping you?
I don't know, Beck. I got to do something. I can't just sit there and watch the game like a normal person. I'm not mature. I'm not older. I'm not sitting there going, it's just a baseball game. I'm hanging and living and dying on every pitch. And if I need a Coke Zero, I need a Coke Zero. And if that runs out, then I just go to the fridge and I get a new one. That's what it's there for.
I don't think it's there for that, but, you know.
Of course it is.
All right, next one here. The Indiana Pacers got a nice win last night. I don't know if you saw this, but Tyrese Halliburton hit a game-winning shot.
I saw that.
And they never led the entire game until that moment. Before that game happened, a team trailing by 9 or more points with 3 minutes left, they were 0-182. So the Pacers were the first team of 182 to win after being down 9 or more with 3 minutes left in a finals game. The Pacers are going to win the finals. Take it or leave it.
Leave it.
Leave it alone.
Thunder will win the finals. I think the Thunder are great on defense. I think they've been better all year. Pacers kind of a Cinderella. I had one of my buddies who's a bigger NBA guy than me, obviously, said that the Indiana roster feels almost Pels-like. It doesn't feel like it's some of these super championship teams. It doesn't have the uber star that carries the way.
It's
just kind of constructed they got that guy in the draft. Or this guy's a little better than we thought. Got that older guy from free agency. Boom, in the finals.
It's kind of a throwback to what teams, some teams that we could see before the big three in the Heat. There would be a team like this every now and then that would make a run to the finals and win. Obviously the Mavericks are a great example of that. They had Dirk, but he was a superstar. But other than that, they didn't really have. They had a lot of other kind of role player guys.
Jason Terry.
Yeah. So this is kind of a throwback to that, I think. But the Pacers, they've got. Tyrese Halliburton is probably a top 5 player, and then Pascal Siakam is one of the best big men in the league. So they've got really good players.
I'm certainly not calling you wrong. Is Tyrese Halliburton a top 5 player in the NBA?
I think he might be. I mean, the way he's played, the way he's been playing this year in these playoffs, he's I would say certainly top 10, potentially top 5. But
top 5's heady stuff.
It is, but he has been incredible in this playoff run, and that shot was just another feather in his cap for these playoffs. But last one real quick, Rick Pitino said he absolutely not interested in the Knicks job. You believe him?
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
That enough. He's going to coach a couple more years at St. John's, and that'll be it. All right. If you're looking for LSU Super Regional preview content, LouisianaSports.net has got a ton of it. You can go check it out for free there before they throw the first pitch at 1 o'clock. I'll be at the box all weekend. Hopefully things go really well, and we're not talking about a Game 3 on Monday evening. That's it for us this week. Matt's going to drive you home. Come on, Tigers. Get us to Omaha. See you Monday.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play.